So for the whole last week I was doing some upgrades and maintenance work on my N54 powered BMW 335i. The biggest job that I finally decided to tackle was changing my leaking oil pan and valve cover gaskets, and everything went good. As you can see by the color of my valve train, the previous owner had been skipping some oil changes, but for the last 2 years I've been changing oil regularly and using liquid moly engine flush to get all of the oil sludge out. At this moment the engine has 100,000 miles on it, and it's been running great.
We're doing the full bolt-on, changing the downpipes, changing the intercooler, both front and left turbo inlets, power gasket, changing oil sump gasket, so full N54 service. Not easy, let me say that.
Finally everything engine-wise was back together. The last step was to pour in 7 quarts of liquid moly 5W40 engine oil and start the car. Only thing that was not done yet was bolting rest of the exhaust to the cutlass downpipes.
Hard to see right now, but before really see the shavings in the oil. Yeah, there they are, really. I check like the inside the filter. I see some sparkling material.
I guess the next step I will do is drain the oil in the clean bucket and see how it looks. The oil is completely new, of course. It's running in the engine for just a few seconds or minutes maybe, so it will be easy to see if there's a lot of bearing material inside, but basically I'm not quite sure what it is, and really don't know what to do next, but yeah, we'll see.
The moment I'm not looking forward to. We'll see how it looks after all of the oil is drained, but yeah, probably nothing good.
Oil pan was dropped. I really wanted to check rod bearings, see the condition of them, but since my car has like 120,000 miles, and you know, the rod bearings is really not so common issue with the N54s, I thought not to touch them, you know, not to bother anything. The engine was running, everything was fine before.
Sadly, it's hard to see the flakes in the black oil tray, but yeah, they're definitely there. So if I check with a finger, see some sparkling material. It's really like a bigger chunks, like a copper shavings. The oil itself, it's not very sparkly, so it looks like it has really torn apart the bearing. Weird.
In situations like this, I really started to think, you know, is it worth it? Is it worth working on cars, you know? Hard to stay motivated, but that's the hobby, you know, that's the life of a car enthusiast. So basically what could have happened, my first guess is that since the oil pan was removed, you know, and the valve cover was off for a few days, most likely all of the oil been dripping out of the engine, so the engine was totally dry. When installing the oil pan back together, putting on valve cover, pouring in new oil, what really could have happened is that
the first startup was without oil pressure. Although I cranked the engine for a good 5 to 10 seconds before starting, but that's the best explanation I can come up with, to be honest. Since there were no fuel pressure in the first start, it was quite rough idle. So I guess that could also be a cause or help to spin a bearing. But anyway, you never think about that it could have happened. But basically, it was just a routine thing. I have no other explanation, but that's the only thing I can come up with. I don't know if I should blame myself or it's just a super bad luck or something, because all the service, everything was done by book, torque by spec, everything. And I never touched the rod bearings because I thought that they are in good shape still. Now thinking, I don't know, it's crazy. Since I never touched the bearings or anything, there should be a oil film anyway left there. Because when you do just a regular maintenance oil change, you never think that you should crank the car over to build the oil pressure. I don't know if there's any difference because the oil pan was off and all of the oil was dripping out of the oil pickup tube. But yeah, this is a tough one. I don't know really. Anyways, this engine will go out and I will do a teardown. So if you're interested in checking this out, please let me know in the comments and consider subscribing, because it will be interesting to check what's inside the engine, how the internals look, and to find out what really happened. Also, if you have ever experienced a similar situation when after all of the work, or something like this happens, tell me in the comments, share your stories, your opinion. I will greatly appreciate it.